Welcome back to the Phantom Tollbooth. We are just getting to the end of the tour that the soundkeeper gave to Milo, and she stopped him from stuffing a large drumbeat into his back pocket. They returned quickly to the parlor, and when the soundkeeper had settled herself in a chair and carefully tuned the radio to a special hour of hush, Milo asked his question once again in a somewhat lower voice. "It doesn't make me happy to hold back the sounds," she began softly, "for if we listen to them carefully, they can sometimes tell us things far better than words." "But if that's so," asked Milo, and he had no doubt that it was, "shouldn't you release them?" "Never!" she cried. "They just use them to make horrible noises which are ugly to see and worse to hear. I leave all that to Dr. Discord and that awful, awful din." "But some noises are good sounds, aren't they?" he insisted. "That may be true," she replied stubbornly. "But if they won't make the sounds that I like, they won't make any." But he started to say, and it got no further than that, for he started to say, oh wait, this is important, this word right here. "But," he started to say, and it got no further than that, for while he was about to say that he didn't think that was quite fair, a thought to which the obstinate soundkeeper might not have taken kindly, he suddenly discovered the way that he would carry his little sound from the fortress. In the instant between saying the word and before it sailed off into the air, he had clamped his lips shut, and the "but" was trapped in his mouth, all made but not spoken. "Well, I mustn't keep you all day," she said impatiently. "Now turn your pockets out so that I can see that you didn't steal anything, and you can be on your way." When he had satisfied the soundkeeper, he nodded his farewell, for it would have been most impractical to say thank you or good afternoon, and raced out the door. Chapter 13, Unfortunate Conclusions. With his mouth shut tight and his feet moving as fast as thoughts could make them, Milo ran all the way back to the car. There was great excitement when he arrived, as Toct raced happily down the road to greet him. The humbug personally accepted all congratulations from the crowd. "Where is the sound?" someone hastily scribbled on the blackboard, and they all waited anxiously for the reply. Milo caught his breath, picked up the chalk, and explained simply, "It's on the tip of my tongue." Several people excitedly threw their hats in the air. Some shouted what would have been a loud hurrah, and the rest pushed the heavy cannon into place. They aimed it directly at the thickest part of the fortress wall and packed it full of gunpowder. Milo stood on tiptoe, leaned over the cannon's mouth, and parted his lips. The small sound dropped silently to the bottom, and everything was ready. In another moment, the fuse was lit and sputtering. "I hope no one gets hurt," thought Milo. And before he had time to think again, an immense cloud of gray and white smoke leaped from the gun, and along with it, so softly that it was hardly heard, the sound of "but." It flew toward the wall for several seconds in a high, lazy arc, and then struck ever so lightly just to the right of the big door. For an instant there was an ominous stillness, quieter and more silent than ever before, as if even the air was holding its breath. And then, almost immediately, there was a blasting, roaring, thundering smash, followed by a crushing, shattering, bursting crash, as every stone in the fortress came toppling to the ground, and the vaults burst open, spilling the sounds of history into the wind. Every sound that had ever been uttered or made from way back to when there were none to way up when there were too many came hurtling out of the debris in a way that sounded as though everyone in the world was laughing, whistling, shouting, crying, singing, whispering, humming, screaming, coughing, and sneezing all at the same time. There were bits of old speeches floating about, as well as recited lessons, gunshots from old wars, babies' cries, auto horns, waterfalls, electric fans, galloping horses, and a great deal of everything else. For a while there was a total and deafening confusion, and then, almost as quickly as they'd come, all the old sounds disappeared over the hill in search of their freedom, and things were normal again. The people quickly went about their busy, talkative business, and as the smoke and dust cleared, only Milo Talk and the Humbug noticed the soundkeeper sitting disconsolately disconsolately on a pile of rubble. Oh, look at her there. Disconsolately. That's hard to say. I'm terribly sorry, said Milo sympathetically as the three of them went to console her. But we had to do it, added Talk, sniffing around the ruins. What a terrible mess, observed the Humbug with his knack for saying exactly the wrong thing. The soundkeeper looked around with an expression of unrelieved sadness on her unhappy face. It will take years to collect all those sounds again, she sobbed, and even longer to put them back in proper order. But it's all my fault, for you can't improve sound by having only silence. The problem is to use each at the proper time. As she spoke, the familiar and unmistakable squinch, scranch of the den's heavy toot steps could be heard plodding over the hill, and when he finally appeared, he was dragging an incredibly large sack behind him. Can anyone use these sounds? He puffed, mopping his forehead. They all came over the hill at once, and none of them are awful enough for me. The soundkeeper peered into the sack, and there were all the sounds which had burst from the wall. How nice of you to return them, she cried happily. You and the doctor must come by for an evening of beautiful music when my fortress is repaired. The thought of it so horrified the den that he excused himself immediately and dashed off down the road in a great panic. I hope I haven't offended him, she said with some concern. He only likes unpleasant sounds, volunteered Talk. Ah, yes, and that's where we will leave it. The sounds have been recovered and freed. The fortress of sound has been destroyed, and we'll pick it up next time from here.